The Menendez brothers, who are serving life sentences, as you know, in the 1989 killing of their parents. Family members are pushing for the DA to recommend their freedom. Our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, is standing by. But first, Juju Chang is back and has more exclusive reporting on the case. Juju, you spoke with the DA?
I sure did, Robin, and this case is still in the headlines today. Nearly 24 Menendez brothers' relatives say they're uniting to try and harness all this recent public obsession with this case from 35 years ago, pushing for the court of public opinion to help influence the real court's opinion. This morning, family of the Menendez brothers taking a dramatic step towards trying to free Erik and Lyle, who shot and killed their parents in their Beverly Hills home, a case that captivated the nation.
You could see when they were younger that there was these two lively, fun children, young boys, who just became sadder and sadder through the years.
35 years later, the family members rallying behind them plan to formally push L.A. District Attorney George Gascon to recommend resentencing for the brothers, who are currently serving life sentences. It was all about the sex abuse.
All about the abuse, which was the cornerstone of their defense.
The DA says he's reevaluating the case, citing new evidence, including a letter written to a cousin detailing allegations of sexual abuse at the hands of their father, Jose, and a recent assault allegation by former Menudo band member Roy Rosello. The Menudo star said that Jose molested him in his home. That home.
Not surprising to the world. The significance is now, oh, this does support that this man, Jose Menendez, was a sexual predator, not only with his children, but with other people's children.
But some questioning the DA's agenda. Some people call the timing of the decision political because you're up for re-election, and this raises headlines. What's your response to that?
If you think that Netflix is somewhat conspiring with me to release this documentary that they have been working on for years, let me just put it this way: there would have been a much easier path to being elected and getting re-elected than the path that I have taken.
The case catapulted back into the spotlight after Netflix recently released that documentary.
Everyone asks why we killed our parents.
And a controversial drama series.
And we decided we weren't going to take that anymore.
With some celebrities also throwing their support behind the brothers, their family hoping they'll be home for the holidays.
That would be the best birthday present to give to my mother, would be to have her nephews home with her on her birthday at Thanksgiving.
Now, after facing life in prison, no parole, there are now two tracks to potential freedom. One involves that newly resurfaced evidence, and the other depends on the DA asking for resentencing based on a bunch of factors like rehabilitation. And Gascon told me he'll make that decision this October. Now, Impact by Nightline's Menendez Brothers, Monsters or Victims begins streaming tomorrow, guys, on Hulu.
A lot will be checking that out. We're going to bring in thank you, Juju. We're going to bring in our ABC News chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. So how would the process of resentencing them to be released, how would that work?
Well, first you need that recommendation from the DA, and the DA clearly making it sound like he's going to do that relatively soon, make his decision. But you still need a court to sign off on it. Remember, a DA doesn't do the sentencing. A court does the sentencing. So you'd still need a court to say, yes, I agree with that recommendation from the DA. That's just a recommendation from the DA. It's a step, an important step. If the DA recommends it, probably more likely than not that a court would accept it, but not necessarily.
And you said they recommend it. Okay, if they do recommend it, how soon could that happen? And some people are saying we want them released by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So look, in theory, it could happen very quickly. If he makes this recommendation in October, I would still expect that they would wait at least until the hearing that's scheduled on November 29th. So I think Thanksgiving is very unlikely. But there is this hearing currently on the books for November 29th. If you have the DA make this recommendation in the next couple of weeks, and the court then takes it up at the end of November, it is possible that a court at that point could say they've served their time. Now they're going to be released.
What's the criteria for the court?
Well, look, it's going to be up to the discretion of the court, right? The court is going to have to determine whether this new evidence, it shows that, in effect, At the time of trial, maybe the outcome would have been different. You can talk about rehabilitation. You can talk about the fact that they've been good prisoners, et cetera. I don't think that's going to make or break this.
It might have been manslaughter, not murder.
Exactly. That at the time that there might have been a different verdict, and as a result, that mercy should be shown. Because again, if they had been convicted of manslaughter at the time, they would have been released decades ago. So we're not talking about, oh, they would have been released by now. They would have been released, in the 1990s.
Wow. Boy, it's amazing how much attention this is getting 30 years later. All right, Dan Abrams, thank you so much.